What's going on, everybody? This is Gent716, aka Gent Sports, back here again. And today, I want to quickly recap the Clemson versus Notre Dame football game, which, by the way, Notre Dame upsets Clemson 47-40 in double overtime in a classic football game that a lot of Notre Dame fans are going to be talking about for a long time. As a Clemson fan, you definitely want to wipe this game from your memory. But this was an amazing football game, and I would expect that both these teams will face each other again in the ACC championship game if these two teams decide to run. If these two teams, of course, run the table. But talking about this game real quick, Notre Dame did a really, really good job tonight. Defensively, they played really, really good in the first half. Only allowing, I believe, 13 points in the first half. Again, they were really, really good on third down. Again, did they give us some passing yards? Yes, they did. They gave us some passing yards. But one thing Notre Dame did really, really good today was stopping Travis Etienne, really limiting his play. He wasn't really effective in the run game, and he wasn't really effective in the passing game. Right? Travis Etienne, besides Trevor Lawrence, might just be the best player on the Clemson Tigers roster. And the fact that they limited him, they pretty much kind of shut him out. That is a huge, huge deal, and especially, with all the limitations that Clemson had to go with going through this game, really taking out the best player on the team. That's amazing for Notre Dame what they were able to do. They were able to stop the run. They did not let Clemson's offensive line really dictate the run game and really push them away. They were very, very strong up front. I thought that their safeties, guys like Kyle Hamilton did a really good job in run support, stepping up when they really needed to, being very, very physical, not just in the run game, but again, even in the pass game. Like, I understand that they gave up a lot of passing yards, but I feel like this Notre Dame secondary was still very physical, kind of really set the tone that this was not going to be an easy game. So a lot of credit has to go for Notre Dame's defense. Again, they gave up 40 points. They gave up 400. They gave up, I think, close to 500 yards. But at the end of the day, Notre Dame's defense came up when this football team really needed it to. And they were really good in the first half. They got sloppy in the second half, especially in the fourth quarter. But I kind of feel like I feel like the offense for Notre Dame kind of slipped away, and I feel like this Notre Dame defense kind of got tired, and the momentum was really, the momentum was just lost, and it was obviously going to Clemson's favor. So maybe that was their direction. Maybe Notre Dame's defense was tired, but they got a second wind, especially in that last possession in overtime. And obviously Notre Dame, this defense got those couple of sacks, and they were able to get this Notre Dame football team to a W. Offensively, I feel like this offensive line set the tone. I mean, 209 yards rushing. First play of the game, Kyron Williams had a 75-yard touchdown. Kind of set the tone that this offensive line was going to dominate. And this offensive line was really, really good today. And despite that, going against this Clemson defensive line, which doesn't have Tyler Davis, that's playing with Brazee, who was not 100%, and you're playing and with Miles Murphy as true freshman, and of course with KJ Henry, who I think is a redshirt freshman with Xavier Thomas. This was a very, very young defensive line, and this Clemson defensive line still had their own, right? Even though it was 209 yards and 300 yards in the air, and they ultimately gave up more than 500 yards of offense, this defensive line still held their own, right? The second half came, this Clemson defensive line played really well. I mean, they were getting a lot of pressure. They did not let the offensive line really dictate the pace. They really held their own up front. And most, like I said again, guys, most importantly, they just put a lot of pressure on the quarterback. They forced Ian Book to kind of step up in the pocket, kind of scramble, and let those guys in the second level handle the job. So this was like I said again, guys, this was a balanced game. I mean, I don't really like to use that word balance, but this really was a good game. People may look at the yards and say that, well, Clemson's defense sucked or Notre Dame's defense sucked. But, right, if you just watch the game and you look at it from a defensive standpoint, this was just a really good-ass game. And I feel like you just have a great offensive line going against a good, going up against a good front. And for Notre Dame and for Clemson's standpoint, you got a great offensive line with a phenomenal run game, with one of the best running backs in the country, with one of the backup quarterbacks with DJ. In the country, with a bunch of weapons, and this Notre Dame defense did a really good job, I felt like, overall wise. So, like I said, I got to give a lot of credit first to both those defenses, even though a lot of yards happened. Offensively, got to give credit to DJ. Did they win the game? No. But 65% completion percentage, over 400 yards, he had some huge throws in this ball game, threw some darts to his receivers. Powell had an amazing day. Amari Rodgers had a great day as well. Did DJ have some missed throws? Yes, he did. I mean, matter of fact, he had a lot of missed throws this football game that, he wished that he would have had back. But this is a true freshman. This is a second career start. And most likely he's never going to have this opportunity again, probably for the rest of the year, unless it's going to be garbage time. So he's a guy that is still learning, and he's still trying to learn. And as far as the QB mechanics goes, still learning on the fly. So I got to give a lot of credit to DJ in this performance, and I'm sure a lot of Clemson fans are not going to be ripping this kid because he played his ass off today. And going against a good defense like Notre Dame, which is also a top 5 team as well, I'll take that. If I'm a Clemson fan, I'll take that performance that DJ displayed out there. Again, missed some throws, missed some opportunities. They were penalties, didn't capitalize in the red zone sometimes. But at the end of the day, DJ Uiagalelei, probably butchered that last name, did a phenomenal job today, in my opinion. Notre Dame's offense, again, did a great job as far as setting the pace on the offensive line. They really pretty much, again, 209 yards, first play of the game to Tyron Williams, had a 75-yard rushing touchdown. They did have penalties. They did have some penalties, some offsides penalties, which would really put them in bad field position. Ian Book also missed some opportunities. They were also in the red zone and just couldn't capitalize it and had to settle with field goals. Ian Book fumbled in the back of the end. He fumbled when he was on his way, which resulted in a touchback. So Notre Dame, you can make an argument, could have honestly put the game away if it wasn't for those missed opportunities in the red zone as well. But at the end of the day, like I said, during the fourth quarter, after they had a sloppy kind of second half, like the third quarter, they were kind of sloppy. The fourth quarter, they were definitely sloppy. I mean, Clemson's defense, it looked like Clemson was about to win this football game, because they had all the momentum. They couldn't move the ball. They couldn't throw the football, couldn't run it. But Ian Book came clutch. And, I've been one of Ian Book's biggest critiques. I felt like he was a game managing type of quarterback, a solid quarterback, but he's not a guy that's going to win these type of big games. That's not going to win against the really good defenses. I'm going to say he did prove me wrong here because this was going against a really good defensive front. Now, they did lose 3. Now, Clemson, Brian Brzee was out, I think, for the rest of the game, but he did play the majority, even as a true freshman. Tyler Davis, their best defensive tackle, was gone. Mike Jones was gone. James Skalski, their linebacker, their play caller, is gone. But I'm not going to make that excuse. Clemson, even without those players, have solid depth. They got players all across the board, including in the secondary. Ian Book showed out. Now, was he the most accurate passer? No, he completed 56% of his throws, but he made the plays necessary, right? Whenever Notre Dame needed him the best, whether it was scrambling, whether if it was him stepping outside of the pocket and making those throws to the sideline, he made the plays necessary, and that's why I'm a little hesitant because 56% is 56%, and you play Clemson like that, especially when they're healthy and they got film of you, especially against them. I don't know if 56% is going to get the job done, but he did prove that he is more than capable of getting the job done, especially against top-ranked teams. So I got to give him his credit and his just due for that. Brian Kelly, it's a huge shout-out to Brian Kelly because this is his first win against a top 5 AP team, if you can actually believe that. He's been at Notre Dame for almost a decade, and this is his first top 5 win, despite all the successful seasons he's had at Notre Dame. So huge shout-out to him. But like I said, overall, I can't even talk right now. I'm tired. But yeah, overall wise, this was a phenomenal game. Just got to give a huge shout out to Notre Dame. Got to give a huge shout out to Brian Kelly. A lot of those players, the fans that stormed the football field. Which, by the way, I hope and pray that none of those kids had COVID because that's going to be detrimental if these all those kids are storming the football field and they're swarming around the players and they're touching on them. I just hope that those players stay safe. But like I said, overall, guys, and I can't even say the word overall. I don't know why, but I can't say that word. I do feel like this was a good game, and hopefully we'll have a rematch. And matter of fact, no, I know we will have a rematch. Miami's waiting. They've been struggling a little bit on the defensive side of the ball, but Clemson has the head-to-head. I don't think Notre Dame plays. No, they do. I think Notre Dame does play Miami. So we'll see what happens. We'll see how the table runs. But like I said, guys, great game by both Clemson and Notre Dame. Clemson and Notre Dame fans, let me know how you guys feel about this game in the comment section. We can definitely ask it out below. So anyway, guys, hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. This is Jan716. If you guys want to follow me on my social media pages, I'll have the link below the description. And if you guys want to stay in tune with more college football content, make sure to hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so you guys can always be notified when I always upload a video. And that is all I got for you guys today. So, yep, Jan716, aka Jan Sports. I'll check you guys out later. Peace.